All right, so welcome. Let's take a second, and I want to introduce myself and Jennifer introduce herself. I'm Mary Reed Munford. I'm the missions coordinator. I am a former traveling school teacher. I taught for TTS 24, as we name them. We name them by the number of the semester, and that was in Southern Africa. And um, one of the thing I love the most about the traveling school, I just love place-based education. I think it makes so much sense. I love the idea that students are basically learning as they are encountering real things in the world. And that can go anywhere. That can be anywhere in the world. That can be in your hometown. Those kind of skills and curiosity transfer anywhere. So I'm really excited about that. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Royall, and I am the executive director of the traveling school, and I'm based in Bozeman, Montana. That's our home base, where our home office is. Right now we're remote though. And what I love the most about the traveling school is that, well, I've been a part of the traveling school one way or the other for nearly 20 years, which is amazing. And it never gets old. I can still talk about the traveling school and get chills. So I love watching the growth of students during their semesters, and I love seeing what they do with their lives and hearing from their parents when they come home and they wake up the first morning and they're like, oh my gosh, who did you send home to my house? It gives me the chills to think about it. So anyway, that's what I love about the traveling school, everything.
And that's so true. It comes across when you talk about it. Um, okay, so I'm going to start with just a quote from an alumna because I think this sort of encapsulates what we're all about. Um, I feel like the traveling school didn't change who I was, but helped me become closer to who I want to be and transformed the way I move through the world. The traveling school left me feeling more like myself than ever, more confident, more empowered, and more curious. I care more about what my communities look like and am more passionate about changing them for the better. And that's essentially our mission statement. They said it quite well. So the basics, we'll get to the mission in just a second. The basics, we're all female, female and young women and non-binary and female identifying students, ages 15 to 18. So that means 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. And we have 3 semester locations. We're so excited that we are going back to Southern Africa and South America. And the Southern Africa semesters in the fall and the South America semesters in the spring. And then with the Western US, we started that programming during the pandemic, and it's been amazing and really powerful. And we're kind of gauging where to go from here with that. We definitely want to relaunch our international programs. We're really focused on that right now, but we're also, excited to keep something going with the Western US. So this year we're doing a little bit of it will be on the application. We're going to kind of gauge interest and see how to move forward on that one. And we are technology free, and you are fully immersed in the small community you're a part of, as well as the worlds you're traveling through, the states and countries you're traveling through.
So yeah, Carly in 2 slides previous really spoke our mission beautifully. But our official mission is to amplify female voices through transformative education to ignite positive change. And at this point, in our world, what could be more important than amplifying female voices? And it's clear to me that we need new ideas. We need new ways we need to find new ways of opening dialogue. And I think females are going to be the answer. I believe that truly.
Awesome.
So just, I think that when you think about the traveling school and you think about, oh my gosh, it's going to be this great trip. It's going to be this vacation. I'm going to go travel the world. And that's all true. You do travel the world, but the traveling school, yeah, we're alternative and we're different, but we're a real school. There are exams, there are grades. We are accredited by the Western Association of Schools and Colleges as a supplemental program. We've been running programs for 19 years. So we have our 38th semester out in the field. We're almost 20 years in. So this is pretty amazing. You know, what's going on. We have incredible partners. So we're a founding member of the International Coalition of Girls Schools. It used to be the National Coalition of Girls Schools, but it's broadened and we love that. Yeah, and we have 450 alumni out there and a new group, a new cohort that's out in the wings, traveling through Montana right now.
Yeah. And it's a little bit tough to give something like a sample itinerary because it looks different in South America. It looks different in the Western US. It looks different in Southern Africa. But I kind of wanted to give you a sense of just, I know a lot of people ask me this. It's like, what does that mean? What does it mean that you travel? Are you like always on the road? Um, so here's sort of a general sense. You might have 2 weeks to start out with in one place because we want to make sure that the community gels. You get to know each other. You do orientation, team building. You meet with your classes to see what that's all about. Like we said, we're a school, so you got to get those started. And then, you know, an example here might be having a PE class that's whitewater rafting. Um, then you might get on the road and you might have a travel day. And then you're in Toby National Park, and that's where your next set of classes will be. You'll set up camp, you'll have game drives, and that's biology class. You'll have some separate class time, and maybe you would have a talk with a local conservationist in the park about what you're seeing during the day, or the history of the park, or you know, any of those kind of things that we incorporate into our academic curriculum. And then the next day, you might be headed off to a totally different place, to the Capri Strip in this case. So, you know, it varies. It's not really strict like 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, or anything like that. And we go in with a set itinerary and the same framework, because we have deep connections in specific places, and you know, those are our anchors. But it is a little bit dynamic too. We're flexible. Like if we need to stay in a place a little bit longer because something really great is happening there, we will. So we go in with a strong plan and deep relationships on the ground, and we're flexible as we go as well.
Yeah, and I would just add, before I talk about that,
Yeah.
what makes us a traveling school is that wherever we are, that's our classroom. And so that's we don't have a campus. Our campus is our course area and our region that we're digging into. So everything we do is based on, everything we see and everything we do is based on that. That is our classroom. And so that's incredible. It's unlike any other semester school program or any other program I've ever seen really on earth. And it is moving and shaking. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go.
Yeah. All right. So this is our first pillar. Our first pillar is experiential academics. So Jennifer, tell us a little bit about that.
So like I said, we're a school. Don't get us wrong, right? So these are our classes, and they're based very heavily on the place where we travel. So we create that curriculum around the people that we know we are going to meet. And like Mary Reed said, we are flexible too, because we meet people that we've never met before, and they're going to teach us new things as well. And not only those people, but those places that we know that we're going to go. Every student takes classes and participates in discussion. It's very seminar style in terms of its how a class would function, because there's small groups of no more than 16. It's project based. Yes, there could be tests along the way as well. We keep for our accreditation, and just for our schools that are our sending schools, we keep track of our course hours and our service hours, or any community service we might do for students, to make sure that they're going to get credit at home. There are 6 core courses that are listed, and what makes a core course is that it really applies to, it is based around that place. So it is one of the courses that we really don't want you to miss. Yes, if you might need an independent study because of your home high school, but we want you to be engaged in this place because that's why you're with us. So we have our 6 core courses. There's often electives such as math or Spanish, and that would flex based on our student needs, and just really working with your school and family to make sure you stay on track to graduate. Our courses center on our thematic, so that the themes weave through the courses. They're interdisciplinary in nature. We know that what we're seeing and doing is not just, oh, here's a science class, here's a math class, here's a global class. They really all weave together, and that's what makes it powerful. And just to say, our courses are rigorous. Our students are living their learning. And I will say that students come home having worked hard for their classes, and they are surprised at how much they want to work, because they love what they're doing, and the time that they put in. So, I could talk all day about the classes because this is my favorite part. So Mary Reed's going to cut me off. But I would say that our literature class, we choose female authors and female protagonists. We care about that. It matters. We want to weave in to, say, our Western US program. We're reading about immigration and the border with the US-Mexico border, or we're reading about a reservation and Louise Erdrich's The Roundhouse, and just the issues around reservation and the law, and what it's like to be to live on a Indian reservation. Our history class in South America will be in Cusco and in the Sacred Valley, learning about the pre-Incan and the Incan civilization. And we'll have a guide who we love named Puma, who's a shaman and an archaeologist and is the coolest man. And everything he says to you, you're going to want to write down and remember for the rest of your life. Our global studies class those classes pull it all together with what are the challenges in the regions. So talking in South Africa, or actually Namibia, about the complexities of the diamond industry. And you're learning as you travel through the Skeleton Coast, you can't even get out of your vehicle some places because there's diamond mining there. And so you're seeing the implications of that as you travel, again, making it more powerful than just reading a book about it.
Totally.
I cut myself off.
Oh, this is good. All right.
Okay, so I get one more slide. Just give me another one.
Yeah.
So, hey, one of the things that comes out of the program is that, yeah, we look good our students look good to colleges. For one, your college applications have lots of great fodder. You're going to get lots of great ideas for something to write about, and to bring kind of this opportunity, this academic opportunity that you took advantage of, to share how you increased your confidence, how you increased your autonomy, how you increased your understanding of the world. So colleges think of this as a really powerful experience. You're willing to take a risk. You're willing to break outside of that regular classroom, the high school that you were going to for 3.5 years, and try something else, right? So we've had students from all over the place. We have students go to Ivy League schools. Small independent schools love the traveling school. They get what we do. We've had students go to colleges like Warren Wilson and Prescott, that are much more environmental or hands-on like we are. But we also have students, get full rides to University of Michigan, or Montana State, or U of M, or Berkeley. So we have students going all over. And just one more thing, our students also go international. So we've had students go to Stellenbosch University, the University of Cape Town. We've had students St. Andrews.
Yeah.
And for sure, the majority of our students actually do an international semester overseas, and they know how to do it because of the traveling school. They learn how to travel well and not be a tourist and not go there for other reasons, but to go and really immerse themselves in this place. So our students go all over. They are accepted in all sorts of prestigious colleges. We're really where they want to go.
Yeah, that was one of the things I thought about. The students last semester, they did went to all different kinds of schools, but it was like they knew they had a sense of what they wanted to do, where they wanted to go, which I've taught in other schools, and that's not always the case.
Yeah, and it
um,
changes on the semester. They might go in thinking one thing and they
yeah,
come out realizing that, oh no, that's not what they want. So that's cool
yeah,
too.
yeah. Cool. So our next pillar is community engagement, and I've definitely gotten the question of like, what does it mean to be engaged in, like, what does that mean? How do you interact with cultures when you're on semester? And it looks different with every context. But your student will gain the spirit of a world citizen. You really get this sense of being part of something greater. You have a sense of context and a sense of scale that you just can't get any other way than actually being there. You meet people, you learn different perspectives. You hear from people you never would have heard before if you were on a trip or on a summer, trek through someplace. Like, we engage pretty deeply. So you're not a tourist. You're engaged in the places you travel. We have connections running back decades at this point. We're meeting new people along the way. So it's both very intentional and, kind of organic when as you're traveling through. And you move past the single story. I don't know if any of you have ever heard the amazing TED Talk, The Danger of a Single Story, but it's this idea that you can have this sort of one story of a place, and we make sure you don't, and it pushes students to get past sort of the surface layer of their assumptions about people everywhere. Um, you can hear from
And
local
about
experts.
themselves.
Yes, yeah, totally. I think that's right. Yeah, you can hear from experts. You might be working with a community organization, buying food at a local market, meeting up with and playing soccer with a local team. Um, and this is a really silly photo, but this is from my semester, so I had to put it in there. This was a really random thing that happened, or not random. I reached out. I have a friend in Zambia. I used to live in Zambia, and I have a friend, and she was at the University of Zambia at the time, Mercy, and I got in touch with her when we were in Zambia and said, "Hey, do you think you could come talk to my students or maybe show them around the university? That would be really cool. That's something they wouldn't get otherwise." And she not only was like, "Oh yes, definitely," gave them a whole walking tour of the University of Zambia in Lusaka, and she insisted that we come back to her sister's house for like a pool party. And to me, the story is like it gets past this idea, what people think about when you think about what an African is, right? It's all the things, just like being American, just like being any kind of label. And I think, an example like this, an experience like this, gave students a deeper well of, what it meant to be Zambian, or, what the commonalities of being a young woman in Zambia and being a young woman in the US. Um, this is something you couldn't just get on a trip. and I guess I also want to make sure that, like, when we're talking about community engagement, we're talking about engagement in our own community. It's a small crew. It's 16 girls and 4 teachers. That's a pretty tight knit group, and we do a lot of intentional community building. In our photos, you'll see a lot of circles, and that is a powerful teaching tool. That is a powerful sharing tool, and class discussions in a circle end up turning into dinner conversations. You're moving through the day together. You're processing things together. So, one piece of the community engagement is engagement in our own intentional small community as a group.
So another pillar of the traveling school is outdoors, the outdoors and outdoor adventure and outdoor education. So we engage physically in the places that we visit. So we're looking for opportunities all over to build skills and confidence. We go backpacking through Peru, on the Inca Trail, or canoe the Orange River. We may go mountaineering in Bolivia. And I say may go because things, we have to just play everything by ear when we travel. We may go sand sledding in Namibia, or while we are camping in Western US, we're learning if we go canyoneering in the Red Rock country in Four Corners region, we're learning skills all over the world of leave no trace and how to be, again, in the outdoors and be a gentle traveler. So we're building strong leadership and communication skills by doing these pieces. We're teaching students to take calculated risks that have firm boundaries, try new things, and sometimes it can be really challenging, but it's okay. You do your best. Some of our students come in with having backpacked before, and some had never even been on a hike in the mountains. So, it just really does depend. And we base our pace and what we do on the group together. Again, that community coming in strong. So these outdoor activities teach students to conflict resolution, and they gain independence, and how to really step up, and lead, and lead by example, and to try things that are hard, and to, we say, put on their flexible pants, try their darndest.
It's a good life skill.
Mm. So, we keep saying that we have deep roots. And so just wanted to really give you a sense for what this means. So these girls are rappelling. They don't call it rappelling in South Africa. I can't remember. Anyway, but they're rappelling down this water, right? Abseiling, that's right. So they're right beside a waterfall, going straight down the rock, and they're smiling. It takes a little bit to step over the lip is a little nerve-wracking for sure. But we have been climbing in the Drakensberg in Waterval Boven, South Africa, since 2003, when I was one of the teachers on the first Southern Africa semester. We traveled all over South Africa. We stayed in Boven, took our students rock climbing with Gustav and his guides. And then over the years, whatever, it's almost, like I said, almost 20 years later, we still go to stay with Alex and his wife, Gustav. They've had children that we've gotten to know. There's still guides there that I worked with my students. And we take our finals there now. Alex makes the group dinner, and the students enjoy their graduation ceremony on their deck and have a slideshow. These people are the people that we contacted during COVID and said, what's it like there? Should we travel now? When should we travel? There are people, our boots on the ground. So our partners are, they're relationships that are very important to us, and they are important to our risk management and important to the experience that the girls come away with.
Yeah. Oops. Keep trying to do that. All right. And the final pillar, once you get to this one, I kind of feel like we've covered it because it's so deeply embedded in all the other pillars. You gain leadership through academics, you gain leadership through outdoor adventure, you gain leadership by figuring out what it means to be a leader in a larger community, in a global community, in a community of your peers. It's just kind of embedded in everything, and you're reflecting on it pretty consistently. And one of the very distinct ways that students try on their leadership skills is the students cycle through being a student leader and being sort of like leader of the day and helping plan the day, helping they meet with the teachers and say, what should tomorrow look like? Okay. And so then they're working with the teachers. They're having some agency saying, look, everybody's tired. We need a break tomorrow. Like we need a rest hour or, whatever it is. Advocating for themselves, advocating for their peers. And it's a time for the students to kind of help control the flow and pace of the day. And each student gets to do that, which is a pretty cool and powerful experience, I think. Which leads us to
So who are our girls and who are our students who come to the traveling school? And I'm just gonna, our group is geographically diverse. So right now, our students on this semester, we have 10 students. One is from Canada, one student is from Uganda, and the other 8 are from 7 or 8 different states across the US. Our students come from all over. They go to home schools, they go to private and independent schools, they go to boarding schools, they go to public schools. So very diverse in so many different ways. Our students, 40 to 60%, depends on the semester, depends on the year, receive need-based scholarships. Our students are academically motivated. They're looking for something different. Oops, we lost the slideshow, but that's okay. It's going to come back. And what else? Our students are, they're looking for something more. They're looking for something more than they can find in their regular high school. And they're willing to try new things. It doesn't mean they're going to be great at all of them. But they're finding us. Our traveling school girls, our students, they find us. They're looking for something. And so, and it's a special kind of student who wants to leave their high school and go do something like the traveling school. And typically, I'll just say our traveling school students are already rock stars. They're rock stars in their schools. And they're looking, like I said, for something to kind of push them to do and find other things that they're getting at home. This community is another big piece of it, where it's just, to be in this close-knit community is another thing that our students are looking for. Nothing better than having a dance party on the traveling school truck. Or on a salt pan like this.
And I'm not going to dwell on this, even though I know probably some of y'all want to. Tonight is really just an overview of our program, and we will have future webinars that are a little more down to the nitty-gritty. But here's an overview of the admissions process. You fill out an application. Students fill it out. It has, parent information and things like that. It has some short answer questions, a couple of longer essays or anything like that, but some good questions that kind of make you think and help us get to know you. And then you talk to your school. Ultimately you will have to sign a credit transfer agreement with your school to make sure that they are on board going into the semester. Obviously, nobody wants surprises on the other end, if something was something didn't work that way. So we want to make sure that you are on the same page as your school, and we are happy to help you with that. So if you find roadblocks with your school, please reach out to us, because we've had experience tackling those roadblocks. It might be your school's first time managing this, but it's not ours. So try not to get too daunted by that if your school has a lot of questions. Academic recommendation, and another could be from an adult who is like a coach or another teacher, someone who knows you well. And then if relevant, part of your initial application is the applying for need-based scholarship, and we have this whole system called FACS. And we will have a whole separate webinar about finances later. I know it's impossible not to be thinking about that. And, um, but when it comes to things like applying for facts and filling out the facts information, we will have a little bit more detail later. You can see some of that already on the website. Um, and I did, there we go. Finances and scholarships, putting the tuition up there because I know, it's a thing. Semester school experiences are expensive, and we know that. But we also know that one of the most important things is that, like, one of the most important lessons is that we can make it happen. They can make anything happen. Like, when students drive the process, it's so powerful. Almost all of our students do some kind of fundraising. And that looks different in every context. And it's not about the amount necessarily. It's about students owning the process and students being a part of making this opportunity happen. And we want to work with you to make it work. We have tuition payment plans, we have need-based scholarships, and we've given a lot away. And it's the best investment, right? And so if you are interested and you want to apply, please apply, and we will help you with us. We want to work with you to make it work. And we know that this experience is transformative, and the confidence and the engagement in the world you gain from it is worth the investment. Thank you all so much, and thank you for your patience. I'll send a quick email after this to get some of your feedback. So.